Welcome to Secrets Unlocked. If you enjoy intimate confessions and forbidden stories, check the private archive linked in the description. Subscribe, settle in, and enjoy the story. Life was good. Well, yeah, good. Certainly not great. Breaking up with Megan was unexpected, but it was a decent enough reason to shake things up a bit. My lease was just about up at the apartment I'd been at for the last 3 years, and my current office job had pretty clearly become a dead end. A few days after the falling out with Megan, I found myself checking the job aggregate sites with a little bit more frequency, even at work. Life was good, but it needed some changes. That was how I ended up with this interview. As yet another day was starting last week, I scrolled absent-mindedly through the postings, expecting once again to find nothing of real interest. I nearly spilled my coffee on my lap when I saw it. Young male executive assistant needed, generous compensation, paid training, ideal position for a highly motivated candidate seeking change. Sterling Holdings just posted. I could hardly believe it. Sterling Holdings was one of the biggest companies around. Hell, they were so big, even the talking heads on TV didn't quite know everything they were up to. All anyone knew was that whatever Sterling Holdings touched made money, and lots of it. Oh, and that the founder and CEO, a woman named Veronica Sterling, was the driving force behind all of it. She did the occasional rounds on the news and morning talk shows, but was otherwise very private. And since she didn't take the company public, her existence outside the typical corporate limelight was a little mysterious, but reasonable. Why would they be posting here? Couldn't they get anyone they wanted, anywhere they wanted? I didn't want to spoil my luck and immediately sent in my resume. I even typed up a quick cover letter expressing my excitement at the prospect of working with such a successful, well-respected company. Apparently it worked pretty well. Within a couple of days, I had been sent an invitation to the SH office downtown. I was to report to the 32nd floor and check in with the receptionist. As I walked from the garage toward the building, I could feel the excitement building in my gut. Life was good, but pretty soon, life was going to be great. The lobby was pristine. It was a well-lit room, but not the glaring, clinical lights you sometimes get in office buildings. The polished marble tile and sleek titanium receptionist desk shone brightly, emanating a futuristic ambience. The receptionist was elegant, to be sure. Her jet black hair popped against the metallic white walls of the room and was swept perfectly just above her eyes. Her appearance was meticulous, and her makeup looked pristine. She wore a sharp purple blouse. As I approached the desk, she looked up at me with a professional smile. "Good morning," I smiled back. "My name is Sam Watkins. I am here for the 11 a.m. interview." "Ah, of course, Mr. Watkins," she replied. "Thank you for arriving a little bit early. Do you have a copy of your resume and requested materials?" "Yes, it's right here." I handed her the manila folder that contained all the information that had been asked of me, my current living situation, family, relationships, that sort of thing. It seemed a little excessive, but I knew this was probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so I didn't want to pass it up just because my employer was interested in knowing more about me. The receptionist's hand reached out to take the folder. Her nails were perfectly manicured with a purple polish that matched her blouse. I was impressed by the coordinated effort. As she took the folder, I quickly reminded myself why I was here and refocused my attention on the packet she was now pushing towards me across the desk. "Mr. Watkins, if you could please read over these documents and sign where marked. As you know, Sterling Holdings is a large company that values the innovation and technology it is responsible for creating. These documents are essentially agreements that you will not disclose any information regarding your visit here to outside sources, and the legal ramifications of doing so. Your signature will be required before your interview will be conducted. I am sure you understand. Her smile beamed back at me as I looked from the documents to her. "Certainly. I'll fill these out and be right back." I sat on a nearby chair, a luxurious black leather chair, I might add, and read through the documents quickly. This wasn't really a surprise, and there was nothing that caught me off guard. It was pretty obvious that Sterling Holdings took its business seriously, and if I was going to be a part of the team, I was comfortable protecting any company secrets or information I might be privy to. I finished signing and dating the documents and handed them back to the receptionist. She thanked me and excused herself to the door behind the desk. As she walked away, I noticed the rest of her outfit, a sharp, black pencil skirt and a pair of purple heels. She effortlessly made her way across the room and stopped at the door, glancing back in my direction and disappearing behind it. I looked down towards my lap and started fidgeting with my hands. This woman was a professional. Without the distraction, I started running potential interview questions in my head and practicing my answers for them. I felt pretty confident about the interview, though I definitely had some questions for the recruiter. The ad had been pretty vague, so I was keen to know what particular responsibilities executive assistants had at Sterling Holdings. The delicate clicking of heels interrupted my thought process. As I looked up, I locked eyes with the receptionist. She grinned. "Mr. Watkins, everything is ready for you. Please make your way through the door to the office at the end of the hallway. The door should be slightly open. Please let yourself in and your interview will begin." "Thank you very much." My voice quavered a little. She gestured toward the door. "Have a wonderful morning, Mr. Watkins." Gently pushing open the door revealed a cozy office much unlike the lobby I had come from. Drapes with intricate designs covered the walls, while a silky curtain obscured the enormous window along the back of the room. A plush, deep red carpet covered the entire floor. A large, cherry-stained mahogany desk occupied most of the middle of the room, and a cream leather settee sat at a slight angle in front of it. A slight haze was in the air, though the room had a deliciously savory sweet smell floating about it. Behind the desk was a woman of truly striking beauty. Her dark brown hair was pulled up in a special bun that was held together with two metallic rods in the back. Her almond eyes were intense, yet comforting as they immediately began assessing me. They felt as if they immediately pierced to my core the second they began their search. Her face was striking in its perfect proportions, feminine yet confident, warm yet calculating. She wore small diamond studs in her ears that shone like stars in the night sky. A polished titanium dragon pendant hung from her neck, the eye of which appeared to be a moderately sized ruby. A black leather bolero jacket covered her arms and shoulders, and she wore a red silk blouse. "Good morning, Mr. Watkins. Please have a seat." She motioned toward the settee. Her voice cut through my thoughts and brought me back to reality. I gave a smile and made my way toward the settee. The woman inhaled from a small vape that gave off a red glow, smirking as she causally blew the vapor in another direction. Good morning, I'm Sam Watkins." "Obviously, Mr. Watkins. I am Veronica Sterling. A pleasure to meet you." I immediately tensed from shock, my body rigid and on the edge of my seat. "The Veronica Sterling. I'm sorry, ma'am." "Miss Sterling or Miss, if you please," she cut sharply. "I detest ma'am." Her stare became cold and penetrating. "Yes, miss, my apologies. I am just stunned and honored to have the pleasure of meeting you." Miss Sterling continued to stare, though as I talked her eyes softened ever so slightly. Her smile had returned and she took another hit from the vape. "Ah, a young man with manners. A nice change of pace." She slowly let out the vapor and the smile began to widen. After a few moments of silence, she chuckled. "I had a feeling you would be a high potential candidate. Please, Mr. Watkins, relax." As the word left her lips, I felt my body loosen up in an instant. The power of this woman was undeniable. It was clear I needed to be at the top of my game to impress her and score the position. As if reading my mind, Miss Sterling continued to speak. "Now, Mr. Watkins, do not worry about impressing me. I know I can come off as a bit intimidating, but trust me, you would not be sitting where you are today unless I chose to see you. Do you understand?" I tried to squelch the nervousness from my voice, with only partial success. "Why, yes, Miss Sterling, I appreciate this opportunity very much." Miss Sterling smiled widely, her teeth shining powerfully through the hazy air. She slowly swung her chair toward the back window, looking out through the curtain. "Yes, I am sure you do, Mr. Watkins. I would imagine it's now clear why so much has been vague, why all the secrecy and agreements we have you sign. If you are to be my personal assistant, after all, I can't very well have someone that I am unable to vet properly." I could feel the excitement building in me to an almost uncontrollable level. My hands started twitching nervously and I could not stop myself from smiling. Wow! Executive assistant to one of the most powerful women, no, powerful people in the world. And she was interested in me. "Yes, miss, it all makes sense now. I have to admit that I am surprised at your approach, though. Surely in your position, you could hire anyone you want." Her chair turned slowly back toward the set. As it came to a stop, Miss Sterling lazily put her elbows on the desk, keeping her hands close to her face. "That may be true, but I have found that these advertisements continue to find me some of the best qualified applicants." Her eyes flashed, accompanied by a grin. "Such as yourself." Another hit from the vape. Before I had a chance to respond, she began speaking again, the vapor spilling out of her mouth onto the desk. "You see, Mr. Watkins, this isn't a typical assistant assignment. I require a great deal from my assistants, much of it far departed from what the typical executive searches for. Your background suggests to me that you may be a great fit for my preferences." I found myself hanging off of her every word. "No serious relationships, limited family ties, physically fit with a lean frame. Clearly a dead-end job." She looked over the paperwork at me, tilting her head slightly. "You're no fool in recognizing that. I commend you. You seem to keep to yourself and your lease is almost up on your current residence. This is all correct." It took more effort to speak than I anticipated. "Yes, miss," I managed. "Wonderful. Well, Mr. Watkins, I am indeed going to offer you a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I am seeking an assistant for a 1-year contract in which you will fulfill every need I designate, both business," a long draw on the vape, "and personal." "That sounds like a fantastic, Miss Sterling. I'm confident I won't let you down." I could barely stifle the excitement in my voice. Now, Mr. Watkins, there are a few obligations you must meet as a part of this position. Perhaps we should discuss them before you accept my offer." "Of course, Miss Sterling. I look forward to knowing more about the position." "Yes." A silence hung in the air for several seconds, the only sound coming from the inhalation of Miss Sterling's vape. "I will cut to the chase, Mr. Watkins. When I hire young men such as yourself to act as my assistant, this is a 1-year contract to bend to my every desire." Feeling the tension build, thousands of more private stories are waiting in my exclusive archive. The link is in the channel description. In addition to secretarial work, I will require you for personal assistance such as dressing, cleaning, cooking, things of that nature. I waited for a pause as not to be rude. Miss Sterling's smile took a sudden quality. "Now, as a part of that process, you will have access to state-of-the-art products and services that my company has developed, much of it reserved for in-house use. You will undergo a complete personal transformation." I shrank back into the settee. What the hell was this? "Miss Sterling, I'm sorry. What exactly is going on here? I don't understand what you're looking for, and these changes, that is quite drastic, miss." Miss Sterling took another long hit from the vape, her eyes once again piercing into me. Deciding, tension hung in the air more thickly than the vapor haze. She suddenly blew vapor toward my direction, relaxing her stare and smiling. "Yes, they are drastic changes. However, as I said, these products and services are state-of-the-art. My researchers have developed special inhibitors that prevent permanent changes to your body. They will only last for as long as you are undergoing the therapy. You would be back to normal in under 3 weeks. As for any body modifications," she waved her hand casually in the air, "you needn't worry about such trivialities as scarring or an inability to reverse the procedures. And I have the best team of surgeons can buy, literally." She let out a slight, breathy chuckle along with more vapor. The interview had very nearly gone off the rails. I couldn't tell if I was nervous, scared, excited. I wasn't the only one who noticed. "I can tell that at least part of you is interested in my proposition, Mr. Watkins," she smiled deviously. "So yes, I will feminize and train you to my standards. You will tend to every task I set before you, and you will be housed either at my residence or at an appropriate station, depending on your progress and my needs." A few puffs of vapor escaped from her lips. I was still processing the information flying at me. This was completely wild, and yet I couldn't ignore the curiosity growing within me. I shifted uncomfortably. "So, if I understand correctly, Miss Sterling, you're looking for, like, a slave almost." Miss Sterling's eyes widened with glee, her smile brightening further. "Ah, slave. Such a filthy, unfortunate word. I would prefer to think of you as a doll, Mr. Watkins. A doll that looks how I want, wears what I want, does what I want." A plume of vapor hit me in the face. I could feel myself leaning in subconsciously. It was clear to us both I was dangerously close to being hooked. "Let's not forget compensation, Mr. Watkins. While under my control, you will be properly cared for. You will have no expenses and will incur no charges for the use of my company's products and services. Your every need will be taken care of, and you will want for nothing. Upon the expiration of our 1-year term, you are free to revert to how you are currently without expense to you, and you will receive a $1 million payment for your services." I nearly jumped off the settee. $1 million. After taxes. Miss Sterling paused to take a couple of hits from the vape as she allowed this to sink in. "I require a great deal from my dolls, Mr. Watkins. If you find you enjoy the work, the contract may be renewed at 1-year intervals, with each year of service earning an additional $1 million fee." That certainly sweetened the pot. It was several minutes before anyone spoke. Miss Sterling continued to stare at me as her vape glowed with every inhalation. I finally felt as though I had worked through everything she had told me. $1 million per year. That is a lot of money, Miss Sterling. A coy grin spread across her face. "Not for me." She stood and began walking around the desk. "You see, Mr. Watkins, it isn't about the money for me. It hasn't been for a long while." As she cornered the desk, I looked up at her. She wore a black leather skirt, stockings, and boots with a tall heel. This was one of the most striking women I had ever seen. There was no use trying to hide my reaction at this point. "No, Mr. Watkins, for me, it's about control," she continued as she glided toward me. "I take great delight in controlling my doll to bend it to whatever I desire." She suddenly leaned into me, causing us to crash back into the settee. "Tell me, Mr. Watkins," she cooed, "are you willing to give up control, to give me control?" "Yes, Miss Sterling, I want to give you control," I managed to say. Her eyes stared straight into mine and her expression glowed. "I see, Sam. I think you're ready for your test." In that moment, the boundary between employer and assistant was completely erased. The test of submission had begun. I was forced to comply with her rigorous demands, completely yielding to her authority as she pushed the boundaries of my obedience. "Are you willing to be my doll, my plaything?" I struggled to maintain my composure under the intense pressure of her command, but I continued diligently, determined to prove my compliance. Just when I thought I was about to pass out, light began flooding my eyes. I gasped deeply for air, taking as much in as I could in huge gulps. After a moment, I noticed Miss Sterling was no longer near me. In the intervening moments, she had recomposed herself with incredible speed and was smiling widely over top of me, holding her vape, a paper, and a pen. "Yes, Mr. Watkins." Miss Sterling's voice bristled with energy. "I think you'll do just fine. Sign here if you accept the terms of the agreement." Without hesitation, I took the pen and signed at the bottom of the paper. "Very well, Mr. Watkins. I am quite pleased by your acceptance." Miss Sterling continued speaking in a pleasant tone but had assumed a businesslike demeanor. "Please do not concern yourself with your vehicle. I will have it moved to a place of safety for the time being. Compose yourself and then head to the receptionist in the lobby. She will direct you to the salon for phase 1 of your early stage transition. When I see you this evening, you will have begun your journey as Samantha." I quivered a bit at the mention of the name. Samantha. Miss Sterling let out a delighted laugh upon my reaction. "Yes, Miss Sterling." "Thank you dearly, Mr. Watkins. I do so look forward to this evening." Miss Sterling closed distance and stopped face to face, our mouths inches apart. She then slowly blew out a long stream of vapor into my face. I froze, soaking up every second of it. She pulled away, grinning. "Go now, my doll. I have other business I must attend to." And with that, I made my way out of the office. Waves of excitement and nervousness made me feel as though my heart would beat right out of my chest as I made my way toward the lobby. What exactly did I just sign up for? I hope you enjoyed this story. More intimate confessions are waiting in the private archive linked in the description. Subscribe for the next story.